Hey everyone, welcome back to another Facebook Live. I'm your host, Jess.
And I'm your host, Lauren.
And today you are seeing a familiar face. We have Kristen back with us, here to share more of her amazing knowledge on professional branding and LinkedIn and all of that good stuff. But before we get into all of the great content Kristen has for us, Lauren's going to give us our Facebook Live tips. So take it away, Lauren.
Thanks, Jess. So, we're talking today about building your personal brand on LinkedIn. This will be how to brand yourself as a career professional. It's so important. You're getting the knowledge and skills in your education currently, but you want to do something with that afterwards. So, if you have any good questions to ask, any thoughts, any LinkedIn tips, please feel free to drop those in the comments section. We love to keep the conversation active in there. Just don't leave any personal information down there. Of course, the comments section is super public. So if you need to talk to us, you're welcome to give us a call to Student Services. That number is 1-888-427-1000. If you're watching us today, but you watching with us today and watching us, but you aren't a Penn Foster learner just yet and want to start on your path to gaining skills that can help you possibly end up in one of these careers, you can give admissions a call at 1-888-427-6500. And if you like anything that we're saying or doing, we always appreciate a like and share. So that being said, and all that out of the way, we're so excited to have Kristen back. She is such a gem at Penn Foster, and not only like amazing hiring best practices and getting us extremely incredible people to work with, but also being such a leader and making sure that all of you get the best people working on your stuff, and also providing all of this great knowledge that she knows from her professional experience with you on these Facebook Lives. So thank you so much for joining us, Kristen. I'll let you take it away and kind of, expand on that introduction and anything else you'd like to say.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm tearing up just a little bit because I'm excited to be here. This is one of my favorite things to do. See you, to talk about this, talk about things I'm passionate about, pay it forward, help people. So I've been working with Penn Foster for 7 years, almost 8 years now, helping grow careers, helping coach students, colleagues, putting together training sessions, helping to hire successful talent over the organization and all of our different departments. And it's been incredibly rewarding. And I'm excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me. And today we're going to be talking about like professional branding too. So it's different than just going over like the interview things, in which it all ties together, right? And getting the interview. So it's exciting to be talking about something just a little bit different, but something I'm really passionate about as well. So again, thank you for having me today.
No, we're so excited. And for all of you watching, we did have a conversation with Kristen earlier this year on interviewing best practices. So if you missed that one, definitely scroll back and look through our videos and watch that after you're done watching this one for sure, because she provides so much great information in there.
And we'll also drop the link in the comments. So if you want to just finish this one and jump right over, get all of that great knowledge all in one swoop. But yes, thank you so much for being here, Kristen. I know you said it's one of your favorite things to do, but we love having you, and our viewers are so grateful for all the info you have. So like you said, we're going to talk about professional branding today, and the word professional brand might seem a little ambiguous to some, right? So can you just start with what is a professional brand and why it can be helpful for you in your job or career search?
Right. So you think about it when companies have a brand, right? It's like a unique design, a symbol, words, or a combination of things that helps them identify and differentiate from their competitors. So it's similar with a personal brand. Think about it as if, what would people say about you if you weren't in the room? Okay, that is your personal brand. It's a combination of your reputation and your image. It's the sum of your values, your passions, your strength, and your skills. And so if you can identify what those are and understand and then understand and gain understanding of how to present that to the world, then you have a starting point. And also I'll offer, when we're done here, we can connect personally as well to help identify what those would be for you. But that's essentially what it is. It's your reputation and image of what people perceive of you when they read your comments, when they see your pictures, when they see your videos, things that you say, things that you do. Anything that's put out there on social media or any professional kind of media represents you in some way, your characteristics and what you stand for and your feelings. So that is your brand. So think of it that way. Whether you think you have a brand or not right now, you do. You already have one. If you're on any kind of social media or any kind of anything like that out there online, doing anything, blogging, posting videos, that is your brand. You already have it. Now it takes, if you're going to go into the professional world and you want to kind of cater that for job searching, is when you would want to get into, how do I brand myself personally on these professional networks so that I'm attracting employers. So I think that's what we're going to talk about today. I feel like I'm talking too much. I'll let you go a little bit.
Well, I feel like you the idea of a professional brand, I think, is so interesting, kind of with what you were saying, because you think of your professional brand, and I feel like for me, what comes to mind first is my presence on LinkedIn, like how I act at work, like how I act when I'm in more of a professional environment. But I feel like what you were talking about and what is kind of interesting about this is like the difference between your personal brand and your professional brand, and how there is inevitably some overlap. So with your personal brand, like, you might think what you post, like what you said about comments, you might think that what you post on Facebook or what you post on Instagram is just for, oh, it's just for my friends and followers. But it's not. Like, everything that's on social media, unless you are super which there are ways to, make sure, your profiles are all private. You could use a fake name, and there are definitely ways that you can kind of protect yourself. But anything that you do under your name publicly online could be seen by people that you work with, people that you want to work with,
right,
or people that you don't necessarily want, looking at like your more personal stuff. So that's kind of where the two can blend together, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree, Lauren. And I mean, you're definitely right that there are differences between your professional brand and your personal brand, but like those overlaps are kind of like where you can find your strengths, because it's how you just act every day, but translating it to a professional attribute or a professional trait of some kind. So like, for example, if on your social media you're a big fan of making TikToks or making videos, translating into your professional brand, that can kind of put forward that you're, not afraid of the camera. You can be somebody who can speak publicly, and kind of take those things and twist them to make sense for your professional brand. So I definitely know what you mean, that those overlaps are inevitable, but could also be a really big strength if you kind of reframe your thinking.
Absolutely. So if you think of it in like different circle, I don't know if this is gonna
like a Venn diagram.
So we have like talent, strengths, and talents and strengths and passions and ideals and experience kind of overlapping, and in the middle is your brand. Like you have strengths, you have talent, you have values that you believe in, you have experience, you have passion for things, you have ideals. In the middle there, as they all come together, that's what your brand is. It's hard to, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop using my hands, but that's they kind of overlap, and in the middle, that's what your brand is. So you have a personal brand, but that translates very much over into like a LinkedIn profile, which I think we're going to talk about, why it's important to have a LinkedIn profile, and why that's one of the best professional networking tools out there.
Yeah, I think, in context with what we were just saying, if you, to Jess, your point, it's all kind of situational. Like
Right.
if you're somebody who you can tie in your personal brand and what you're posting on TikTok with like your professional brand, it could be an asset. But also it could be something that if you are posting content that you wouldn't want people to see, it could hurt you. So
Right.
that's where, maybe you want to keep more of your personal stuff, depending on what you're sharing and the kinds of things that you're posting, more separate and private. But then the LinkedIn is such a great place to show off your professional brand. So, Kristen, I would love it if you can talk to us a little bit more about how people can use LinkedIn to really boost themselves professionally.
Sure. And I think if we could share a link to LinkedIn in the chat for them, that would be great. We could do that when we're done, or if you have time. So LinkedIn is basically, the profile for LinkedIn is a professional brochure. So it's something that it's similar to having a resume. You can put your resume, highlight your skills, you put your experience. You're able to customize your connections. You have endorsements on there. So what you'd want to do is essentially, if you have a resume, if you don't have a resume, we can talk about that too. But if you have a resume, take your resume and put that in your experience, put your education there. Make sure you put your skills that you've had, any volunteer work you've done, any clubs that you belong in. It's good to have a picture on there. I really highly recommend having a professional picture, one where you're dressing the part, and and a quick summary about yourself, things that you like to do, or what you've done in your career, or perhaps what you're looking for in your career, what skills you have. Just something that if somebody's looking for you, if like a recruiter or someone's looking for you to find a job, to help you with a job, something that can kind of catch their eye as to what you're looking for, what experience you have, and what your passions are. So, excuse me. So, hang on just a second.
Oh, good.
Sorry about that. I think that happened last time too. So, it's an incredible tool for networking. You can make connections with people in your same field. You can make connections with companies that you'd like to work for, colleagues. Now, remember, this is a professional networking site. So you would use it for posting things related to your education, related to your job, things that you're passionate about in the environment, things like that. Nothing really socially related unless it applies to community work or to a job of some kind. It's a more professional setting. People on there are looking to connect with people who are more professional, who are presenting themselves in that way. So keep in mind that it's mostly used for that and not a social network. Sorry, I'll pause and let you ask questions, you guys.
No, I think that what you just said was very smart, because I feel like because LinkedIn does have a lot of the same functionality of something sort of like Facebook or Instagram, where you can post and you can reshare and you can like and you can do those things, the lines might get blurred a little bit as to what you should and shouldn't, put on your LinkedIn. But I think a good rule of thumb, which is what you said, is like anything you do professionally. So if it's a piece of volunteer work that you would dress professionally to go do, then think about it that way. If it's something that you would put yourself in a professional dress to attend an event for, to attend like work or a school event or a volunteer event or a summit or a convention or something like that, where you'd be representing yourself professionally and not personally, that's a good rule of thumb of like the things that you should and shouldn't post on your LinkedIn. But I can completely understand where there's like a little bit of blurred lines as far as it being a social network, because it kind of looks like a social network when you open it up on your phone or your computer, but you really have to kind of skew it to make sense for your professional life.
And think about like, who is your audience? Who do you want to be looking at this, and for what reason? If it's you want to have a professional brochure with your resume and you want hiring managers to be able to find you, then it needs to look like your resume, have all your skills on there, have a professional picture, because it's not that it's bad to not have a picture. It's just that your competition will likely have a picture, will likely have a full resume, will likely have a summary, will likely have more detail. Those are the things when I'm a recruiter and I'm looking at LinkedIn, those are the things that make or kind of break it in the competition. So it's not that it's bad, it's just that it's other people are doing more. So think about it in that way. And there's a lot of research you can do online too about what kind of pictures to take, and look at some people, research some people on LinkedIn, look at companies you want to work for, look at some people that you've worked with. What kind of pictures do they have? What looks good to you? And obviously it has to represent your personality as well. But the content that you post, the things that the pictures, the things that you share and like, that builds credibility in some way with your audience. So that then becomes how you're creating your personal brand. So you're thinking about, what does your page look like? How does it compare to other people that are similar to you, in job or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Find a common thread, and then learn from others. When I was starting my LinkedIn page, I went and looked at other recruiters and talent acquisition people, and I thought, what do they have on there? Oh, they have this and that. Oh, that sounds good. That's exactly what I do. And so you get an idea of how to brand your skills, but also how to put your personal touch on it with what you're posting. So, what else? Sorry.
I think that's a good point. No, I was going to say, like, to your point about following other people and using them as an example, one thing I always recommend is, like, think about your dream companies that you would love to work for, and then find the people at those companies that have the job title that you want to have. And definitely spend some time, like, yeah, they'll get a notification that you looked at their profile, but you got to be shameless sometimes with that stuff. And, people do it all the time. Take a look at their LinkedIn profile, see what they're doing, see what types of stuff they're posting, see what skills they're highlighting, if there are any skills that they have that maybe you need to work to have, or ways that they're talking about themselves. Look at their job experience. It's such a great way, and follow them or connect with them so that you can see the stuff that they post on an ongoing basis. It's such a great way to kind of, you can create a roadmap for yourself of how you want to set up your LinkedIn page, and you at least know you're in the right direction if the people that you admire are doing something similar.
Lauren, that reminds me of when people say dress for the job you want. It's like, make the LinkedIn profile for the job that you want.
Definitely.
Yes.
And I have a question, Kristen. I see this sometimes, like, people will have their job title on LinkedIn not necessarily be what their current job is, but more aligned to, like, what their skills are or what they want to do. So, like, if you're a student right now, maybe not writing student, but you can write, like, aspiring veterinary technician or something like that, that kind of at least, puts in the keywords for the job that you want so that recruiters can find you and, boost you up a little bit more professionally, I think, too. What do you think about that? Is that okay to do?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's recommended. And I think, as a recruiter, you're looking for that. You're looking for what their next step is going to be. So I think having that in there makes great sense. Absolutely. And think about what sets you apart from the crowd. Those are the kinds of things that you want to think about on LinkedIn. What sets you apart from the crowd?
I think there is too, Lauren, like a little about section on LinkedIn that you can put, like, it's like very short, like you don't like obviously fill it out like you're about me on like MySpace going back a lot of years. But I remember when I was, and this is years ago, so Kristen, correct me if this is not best practice, but when I was in college, and I remember going to the student services and having them help me put my LinkedIn together. And they told me to put like specific keywords in that about section also. So I think I'm looking at mine now. It says, I am a self-motivated and creative marketing specialist looking to change the world through the power of social media. And they were like, you have marketing, you have creative, you have social media, and those are like the things you want to hit. So like if they go on your profile and see that you're, you know, you're still in school, but they read that quick blurb about you, it'll be like, that's like a helpful like way to get those buzzwords in on your profile.
It is, because as a recruiter, I have special tools that I can use and filter out for keywords and people's skills. So there's specific skills I'm looking for. When we're looking at a resume, you're looking at, which then will lead me to looking at their profile, which then needs to be, inviting me in. But yes, because then you have the about, then I can see basically your resume, I can see your experience, you have skills you can add in there. So all of those keywords matter, because recruiters can filter and search right down to that exact skill we're looking for.
That's definitely a good tip. Any other big tips to really not only set up your LinkedIn profile well, but stand out in a way like that?
Yeah, there's a setting in LinkedIn that you can set yourself to open for work. So that, for like recruiters, that puts you on a different, like anyone can see your profile, but that highlights you and puts you in a spotlight for recruiters. So if I'm a recruiter and I'm looking for people, open to work people are coming in as suggestions. This person's looking for work in this field that you're posting. So you're getting funneled into more exposure, more engagement, and more opportunities when you put open to work. And you can set it so that only recruiters can see that, versus like not everyone you work with, not everybody you know, so that like I can see it as a recruiter if I'm looking for you, but not everyone knows you're looking for a job. So there's a little bit of privacy there for you. And I would highly recommend putting as much of your resume as you can on LinkedIn. There's going to be a little more detail on your resume, but when I'm looking at it, I really, because in a lot of cases, the resume isn't attached to the ones I'm looking at. So I really need more detail. I need to know more about what you've done and what skills are on there. So if you just put like where you worked and not really what you did or anything about the responsibilities, it's hard for me to know if you're a good fit, because I don't know what you did. And if we have 200 or 50, 200, 300 applicants, I might just go for the people who have more detail.
Yeah, good point.
Right.
So
That's a really good.
the more the better on something like this.
I
That
also
was my
think
next question too. Is more better or is less better? So I'm glad that.
Well, I have another
Sorry.
question about more or less being better. What do you think about in terms of like how often you post on LinkedIn? And also, like, what about engaging with other people's content, especially if they might be a hiring manager in a job that you are looking to get?
Right. Yeah, I would follow the people that you're interested in. I would, comment on their post. I would like their post. Bring as much visibility to yourself as you can. Being more engaged is going to get you that visibility and help build your brand. So you can post every day if you want. Just make sure it's meaningful. Have something to say. Have something, it be professionally related or encouraging in some way in that, in that learning arena space. So so have it be meaningful. Don't go crazy, but do like, follow, look for companies you want to work for, look for people to connect in your same field, and build as many connections as you can, and then go on your home feed, read what people are doing, look at what they're posting, like and repost and share, post your own similar content, things like that. You'll get a feel for it, and then you'll start being able to, you'll post things that you're passionate about and that are professionally related, and you'll see things you'll start to build your personal brand and get the awareness out there.
Any other tips for connecting with potential employers or companies that you might want to work for on LinkedIn?
It's you could also message them if you connect with people on there, and you could message them directly if jobs come available. It's people do it all the time. It's effective, and just make sure if they're going to look at you, they're going to look at all your networks. They're going to look at your social networks. So make sure that everything that you're putting out there is what you want them to see. Yeah, it's okay to message people personally or send them like an in-mail message if they let you do that.
What do you think about adding people on LinkedIn that you don't know personally? Because that's kind of taboo on other social media platforms, but on LinkedIn feels a little bit different.
It is different. So you do want connections. You do want to build your networking circle. You do want to be in with people with similar interests, or people that you look up to and can learn from, or people that you maybe want to mentor. So the more the better on there. I learn a lot from the colleagues that are in my same talent acquisition space and in the career coaching space that I'm in. I learn a lot from them. I think it's great. You can connect with more, at least more opportunities for you for employment, and it just helps build your brand.
Yeah, I feel like personally, like on my LinkedIn, if somebody connects with me, I'm just like so excited that somebody wanted to connect with me and like saw my professional profile. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna accept
Great.
everybody. And
Yep.
maybe that's not the best practice, but you're definitely right, Lauren, that it's very different than when you're on Facebook and somebody tries to add you, and it's like that's where all of your personal things are. So if it's somebody you don't know, it might be a hit the delete button.
Yeah, I think there's an online safety distinction too, because on your personal pages, you're more likely to post where you are, who you're hanging around with. Some of those details that could, if somebody has an eye out for you, like potentially put you in an unsafe situation. On LinkedIn, you're not often posting things where you're not posting maybe like in the moment as often as you would on like your Instagram story or things like that. It's more about like that professional presence. So I think there's a little more safety on LinkedIn because you're tailoring. I mean, of course, be careful always, it's the internet, but you're posting less personally.
I mean, look for opportunities to post examples of your professional activities. Just, look for opportunities to be able to do that. And think about it this way. It's all the stuff that you can't fit on your resume. It's your resume plus. And that is what creates your personal brand. You have the picture, you have the interests, you have your postings, you have your comments, you have your trail of your likes, and so that all helps your visibility.
Absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. And I'm sorry I said stop before, but I'm talking to my dogs, and that's the beauty of Facebook Live, is that they're always here and they're always barking when I'm on Facebook Live.
No worries.
But thank you for all of those tips. I feel like every time we have you, it's just such a wealth of knowledge and so many great nuggets for people to take and run with, and really take all of this information and go to their LinkedIn and probably make a couple updates, make a couple changes to help them stand out. And that's the goal. So we really appreciate it.
I think it's also a good call too, if you don't already have a LinkedIn profile, let this be your signal to set one up. Even if you're in the trades, for example, and you're like, oh, I'm not really in an industry that's on LinkedIn. Yes, definitely you are. All industries, there are people on LinkedIn. There will be hiring managers from every type of company, coworkers. It's so common now to have a LinkedIn profile. It applies to everyone who wants to build themselves up professionally.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Well, Kristen, thanks for sharing so much amazing information. We appreciate you so much. We'll share a link out to your profile if people want to connect. And we can't wait to have you back. I'm sure we'll do more Facebook Lives on these career tips, because you're such a wealth of knowledge and you genuinely care so much about seeing all of our learners succeed, not only in their education now, but in life after. And that's the goal. So we really appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Absolutely. I mean, I could go on and on about this. So if anyone wants to connect with me, I sent them my profile for LinkedIn, and we can connect on there. I can help you figure out what your personal brand should be. If you're not sure what your values are, we can talk about, how to post good content and how to get recognized and be engaged and all that fun stuff. So we could go on and on. We don't have much time, but I really appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to all the connections I'll probably be seeing through LinkedIn, hopefully. So I'll be looking for you.
Take Kristen up on this offer, because
Yes.
it is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get all of the tips and tricks catered to you, and she's just great. We love having you, Kristen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. Thanks for always joining. Hopefully we're bringing you all of the content you want to see, and this is all really great stuff. So bookmark this, save it for later. If you're not able to make your LinkedIn profile now, you want to come back to it. And we will drop the link to our last Facebook Live also with Kristen about those interview and hiring tips. So just thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.